Hi folks, it's Stephen DeRosa from WritingWithHitchcock.com. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about an Alfred Hitchcock film that's often dismissed as lighter fare. It was one of the 4 Hitchcock movies written by the great John Michael Hayes, and of course I'm talking about To Catch a Thief. Now the film is based on a novel by David Dodge, who in his 1962 book, The Rich Man's Guide to the Riviera, describes how his idea for To Catch a Thief came about. In 1950, Dodge, his wife and daughter happened to be living in the south of France in a rented villa. By an unfortunate coincidence, he'd only been there a short time when he received a magazine assignment that required him to go to Italy. So with his family and all their belongings in tow, he carted off to Italy while at the same time the next-door neighbor's villa was robbed of over $250,000 worth of jewelry. Now, Dodge's absence happened to raise the suspicion of the local police, who eventually caught up with the real burglar, one Dario Sambuco, leaving Dodge with the inspiration to spin what facts there were into a somewhat rambling novel, which Hitchcock and John Michael Hayes would spin into a VistaVision Technicolor vehicle for Cary, Grant, and Grace Kelly. Now, although atypical Hitchcock because it's something of a whodunit, although it's really not that difficult to figure out who did it.
Britannia's what's behind it!
Some of the director's major themes are present, such as fear of intimacy, betrayal of trust, and transfer of guilt. And there's also an astonishing number of recurring visual and verbal motifs in the film. For instance, water. The criminals in To Catch a Thief are all directly associated with water. Bertani owns a seaside restaurant. Later, Bertani orders his wine steward, Foussade, to have his daughter, Danielle, bring Roby to the beach club in Cannes by boat. And of course, this goes on and on throughout the film to the point where it seems that the criminals really want to keep Roby in or near water where he's vulnerable.
Hey, you're getting us wet!
It must be true what they say. Cats don't like water.
Early on in the scripting, Hitchcock wanted to feature the traditional Nice carnival by having a scene in which John Roby is chased by the police. He tries to get away through the crowd and jumps onto a float with a huge King Neptune and a cast of fishermen and mermaids, once again driving home that water motif.
Pardon me while I get the water out of my head.
Eventually, Roby ends up inside the giant head of King Neptune, and all hell breaks loose as the float goes out of control. Now, the sequence would have been this great set piece in the film, which was ultimately dropped just to save money on the budget. Hitchcock instead settled for the much smaller scale chase through the flower market. But anyway, the entire deleted sequence from John Michael Hayes' first draft script is going to be included in the forthcoming edition of Writing with Hitchcock. So stay tuned for details on that, and watch for future videos where we'll be talking about the unproduced No Bail for the Judge. I'll be reviewing Gary Lever's documentary, The Master's Touch, which is in the Blu-ray edition of North by Northwest. We'll be comparing the original soundtrack to Vertigo to that of the restoration, and much, much more. So keep an eye out for new videos. Check us out on Facebook, and thank you for watching.